Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another JPGivin'er Analysis, baby! So today I'll be analyzing 3 races from a 2v2 emoji I played in Lounge a while back. And to be completely honest, as of recording this was probably the best I have ever played in 12 races on Mario Kart Deluxe. But even though the purpose of this series is to show you what I do right and what I do wrong, the 3 races I chose still do have their fair share of minor mistakes. But regardless, let's start ripping there, bud. Okay, so starting things off, we have the first race of the event on Moomo Meadows. And to be honest, I didn't have to break through any dramatic situations this race, but there is a concept I'd like to bring up during this race that barely anyone thinks of regularly. Alright, let's pause for a second. You see how I only have 2 coins? So obviously this isn't ideal, but it wouldn't have been in my best interest to blatantly go coin collecting. Because going into the race, my goal was to stay in the front for the race's entirety. And this is because it is a nightmare trying to catch up on this track. And as you can see here, I was able to maintain a top 4 spot for all of lap 1. I didn't want to go out of my way for extra coins and risk getting lag trolled by anyone in the process. But the point I'm trying to make here is that while collecting coins is critical to your success online, you shouldn't set it at the top of your priority list to the point where you'll risk getting screwed over, especially on a track like Moomo Meadows. Honestly, it might not have been in my best interest to throw my red here, but the reason why I'm bringing this play up is because of something you should adapt to in general. You see where I threw that red? I calculated this in order to hit the guy after the boxes to guarantee at least a second place box. To be honest, I see way too many people throw out their reds immediately, and they end up getting a coin at the next set. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply here because 2 people passed me at the last set, but if that weren't the case, I would pass the guy right after the boxes and have a second place box in first. The point being, given the opportunity, you need to calculate your red throw so that A, the player you're hitting won't be able to avoid it, and B, you'll get a second place box just before passing them. So you're probably wondering why I took the glider path, because at first glance, it looks like I did it for no reason. But if you play the clip a little longer, you can see that the guy who would have been behind me pulled triple greens. And this is a concept called assuming total control. So this means that if I get screwed over in any way, shape, or form, it is my fault. So how does this apply here? Well, if I was the average player and I didn't take the glider path, I most likely would have gotten greened and lost my mind because I got so quote-unquote unlucky. I didn't know that the guy behind me would get triple greens, but I wanted to secure a decent spot rather than trying to get a top spot while risking getting a bottom spot. Now, what I didn't tell you is that the guy with triple greens actually got them before I took the glider path. And I didn't realize this because I gave myself hardly any time to react to it while using my rear view. So while given what I knew, I absolutely made the right call by taking the glider path, I still should have spent just a bit more time looking back to comprehend what was behind me. But regardless, I still finished the race in 5th. And it does stink that my teammate got a bottom spot, but that could have been both of us if I didn't assume total control. Alright, next up we got Wario Stadium, and this race was definitely way more chaotic than Moomo Meadows, although I kind of put it on myself. But regardless, I'd say I had an above average performance this race. Honestly, I'm kind of conflicted with how I played this part of the race. So as you can see, I slowed down to avoid getting redded, but I did it in a bit of a weird way because my main goal was to avoid losing all of my speed so I could maintain at least 4th. But in doing so, I was right next to the guy with the red. And if he were to throw it, I very likely could have been hit. So I think the lesson to take away from this is that when slowing down to avoid getting hit, you should try your best to maintain enough speed to not fall too far down in the pack to the point where slowing down wasn't worth it at all. So in summary, I was right in slowing down enough to keep 4th place, but I was wrong in allowing myself to be right next to the guy with the red. Okay, so while it may look like I did nothing wrong here at first glance, I still made a risk. So you see, backing my banana before the second set and not getting another item left me vulnerable until the final set since I only had a plant. Now, I know I didn't get punished for backing my banana and not getting another item, but the guy behind me very easily could have pulled a red. And I think it's very easy to get tilted when you take minor risks like these and someone pulls a red behind you. So while there isn't too much to talk about here, the point is that you should try to play as defensively and safe as possible in lounge to avoid any of these misfortunes from coming true. Okay, I understand that double boxes are really important in this game, but you know what sucks? Not getting any items. So going into the turn before the last set, I predicted the guy in front of me to take the left double box, so I positioned myself towards the right double box, but never fully committed, knowing that the guy taking the right double was a possibility. So when I realized that they were taking the right double, I retraced my steps right away and took a single box. It isn't 2 items, but it also isn't 1 item. And then, with the shroom I got from the single set, and knowing that I was in a safe spot to shroom, I took the ending shortcut, further securing a top spot. And this was a decent race for us overall, with me getting 4th and my teammate getting 9th. And lastly, we have Thwomp Ruins, and this race turned out really well for me. I think I once again made a few risks that I didn't get punished for, but I still believe I played this race really well. And as you can see here, I got off to a great start. Now, you might be a bit surprised that I didn't chain my mushroom at the last set, and to be honest, I very well could have with no repercussions due to being in the back. But my thought process was that with the pack being somewhat close, I wanted to use my shroom at the shortcut and hold on to my star as long as I could without wasting time to catch up. I'm thankful I did though, since the items I pulled afterwards helped me big time in this race. You can see that I chained my mushroom into a golden, and at the next set, my star into another star. And this was a game changer for me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to optimize the throttle. This clip alone should drive you to watch my golden strats if you haven't already, or get a refresher on them. Now, this wasn't the primary reason for my success in this race, but it helped a lot, especially considering how tight this golden strat is if you want the best results. But back to the race, when I saw that the guy in front of me pulled triple reds, I wanted nothing to do with them. And to be honest, I felt like I owned the track after doing that golden strat. So you know what I did? I ran right into the guy. You aren't giving her hard enough. I think chaining my mushrooms into the second set was the right call as well, since I was now at the top of the pack and wanted protection. And dodging the shock was just the icing on the cake. So after all of the positive events that happened this race, my ego really did get the best of me here. If my head was in the game the whole way through, implying that I am not getting first until I cross the finish line first, I would have held on to my triple green protection, but instead, I went offensive because I felt like I had already won the race. And even though I pulled a bomb at the last set, I very easily could have pulled a coin and got right off the glider and got a middle spot. I almost wish I got punished for this because that would have been a life lesson right then and there. But I'm thankful to acknowledge it here. If you haven't caught on to it yet, the life lesson is never to think you've 100% won at anything. There's still a battle to be won in any situation in life, and it really isn't over till it's over. It's something I try my very best to apply to my everyday life. But back to Mario Kart, we got a great race here, getting 1st and 7th and netting 21 points. Well, there you have it. I hope you learned something from watching this. And from a creator's perspective, I genuinely feel like I improve at the game every time I make a video like this, which makes creating these analysis videos very rewarding. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, I'd really appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribed if you haven't already. And if you want to interact with me and everyone else who watches my content, join my Discord server in the description. But with that being said, once again, thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and keep on giving her, bud.